From the jungles of Borneo to the mountains of the Himalayas, from the forests of Siberia to the redwood trees of Northern California, we have stories of mysterious hairy large bipedal apes that are said to roam the wilderness and evade our detection. Sometimes called Sasquatch or Yeti, sometimes referred to by other names entirely, these cryptids are often said to be man-like beasts who avoid humans at all costs. But what if they don't? What if in today's video we take a look at some of the most terrifying Bigfoot attacks of all time? Number 10. The Mongolian Deathworm. In 2011, a strange video appeared online. It was taken by an unknown person who claimed to have seen one of the scariest cryptids in the world. He said he had found proof of Bigfoot in Mongolia. His name is Bat by Ascalon, and he claims that his family has been tracking the beast for generations. They call it the Mongolian deathworm because of the way it moves across the sand, like a worm squirming through the dirt. This animal is said to stand between 7 and 8 feet tall and has skin like elephant hide. People who live in the desert say that it can spit venom from its mouth and kill a human with just a single drop of its toxic saliva. It was supposedly extinct for hundreds of years. But then people started seeing it again in the early 1900s. Since then, there have been hundreds of reported sightings, but no concrete proof that it actually exists. That could all change. However, according to Mr. By, he believes he took footage of one in 2011 and is still searching for more evidence. Number 9. The Footprint. It was August 6, 1958, when Gerald Crew and his 2 friends were hiking through Bluff Creek in Northern California. They wanted to investigate recent reports of a strange creature living in the woods, something big, hairy, and ape-like. As they hiked along the creek, the 3 friends came upon something incredible, a massive footprint that was stamped into the soft mud on the riverbank. They measured the print, and it was 17 inches long and 7 inches wide. To this day, there was no cast of the print made at the time, no plaster, just a few measurements and some photographs. The photos show a print that could ideally have been left behind by a giant ape, but skeptics argue that someone made the print and then tried to pass it off as a real Bigfoot impression. The only problem is there was no way to replicate the texture of the print. Even if someone did make it, they would have needed very muddy water and a lot of weight to get the print to come out perfect. Some people even say the print looks oddly similar to the print left behind by a dinosaur. Number 8. Mary's Story. In 1976, a woman named Mary went camping with her boyfriend in the remote woods of northwestern Ontario. She was only 18 years old when she saw something that changed her life forever. According to what she told investigators later, Mary was sitting around a campfire. When she heard a noise like thunder, she didn't think much of it until she and her boyfriend looked up and saw a huge shape standing at the top of the hill overlooking them. It was humanoid, covered in dark hair, and between 7 and 8 feet tall. As it stood there looking at them, it let out a loud roar, revealing a set of enormous fangs. Then it turned and disappeared into the forest. Mary says that she can still hear the beast roaring in her nightmares to this very day. While her story may seem unbelievable, Mary insists she isn't making it up. She even says that she would recognize the creature if she saw it again. Number 7. Roger Patterson's film. On October 20th, 1967, a couple named Roger Patterson and Bob Gilman went out into the woods near Bluff Creek, California, to search for Bigfoot. They were filming the area when suddenly they saw a huge ape-like creature walking through the trees. They followed it for several miles, and at one point it stopped and stared directly at their camera. They couldn't believe their luck. Finally, they had gotten proof of the legendary beast. Or had they? Roger's footage was never really accepted as proof of Bigfoot. Some people claim that the beast is nothing more than a person in a costume. However, researchers say that if this were true, then the person would have had to weigh over 900 pounds to be able to walk like that. Plus, the person would have had to have been carrying an enormous backpack, weighing at least 400 pounds. If the truth be told, nobody knows what the hell it is, but it certainly doesn't appear to be human. Number 6. The Beast of Bray Road. One of the most well-documented cases of Bigfoot ever happened in Wisconsin in 1990. The local police received dozens of calls from people who claimed to have seen a werewolf terrorizing the town. And yes, it was definitely a werewolf. This thing was covered in black hair, walked on 2 legs, and stood almost 8 feet tall. It was spotted by so many people that the police had to release a statement to the media, warning residents to stay indoors at night. Officers were even sent out to patrol the streets. They were looking for the beast, but it seemed to disappear into thin air. Almost 30 years later, people are still reporting new sightings of the beasts. Number 5. Pet Cemetery. In Stephen King's novel Pet Sematary, the main character goes into the woods behind his house to check out a dead cat. The cat's collar is engraved with the name Church. So he decides to bury the cat in an ancient burial ground located deep in the woods. This is where things go terribly wrong. The cat comes back from the dead and begins killing people. Turns out that the burial ground was the resting place of some sort of evil spirit that caused anything buried there to rise and wreak havoc on the land of the living. The movie is based on a true story, except the story isn't about a cat, it's about Bigfoot. Legend has it that a Bigfoot was killed in Maine in the late 1970s, and then buried in a secret location in the woods. Whatever was buried there didn't stay buried for long, however, and it began attacking people. While this is only a legend, there have been countless reports of vicious Bigfoot attacks throughout history. Number 4. The Alligator. In 2004, a man was exploring the swamps of Louisiana when he came face to face with a vicious Bigfoot. The creature was wading through the swamp water and didn't seem to mind being watched. At first, it stood up on its hind legs and gestured at the man with one finger, then threw him to the ground and started viciously attacking him. Thankfully, the man was able to defend himself against the beast. He pulled out a pocket knife and managed to stab the creature in the chest before it ran away. The man survived the attack, but he refused to tell anyone what happened to him out of fear that he would be considered insane. Years later, he told his story to John Green, author of the Big Book of American Cryptozoology. According to the man, the beast kind of looked like a gorilla, except it was matted with leaves and branches. It also had green scaly skin and the head of an alligator. Number 3. The Attack on Helen. Helen was camping with her family in the Bear-Tooth Wilderness area in the summer of 1975. She and her family had set up camp on the bank of a stream, when suddenly a massive beast began striding towards them through the trees. The creature towered over them at nearly 9 feet tall and was covered in long, thick hair. It let out a blood-curdling scream and charged at the group. Helen's father opened fire and shot the beast 5 times. Each bullet hit the creature, but it kept coming. Eventually, the creature collapsed and died, bleeding out on the forest floor. After it had passed away, the family went out into the forest to look for its body, but they could not find any trace of it. All they found was a set of enormous footprints that stretched 16 inches across. Helen is convinced to this very day that her family witnessed a real Bigfoot, though others insist the creature was simply a bear. Number 2. The Beast of Busco. There are very few Bigfoot encounters as bizarre as the one that happened in Busco, North Carolina in 1978. It was here that a hunter came face to face with a demonic-looking beast. It was covered in black hair, had blood-red eyes, and weighed at least 300 pounds. The hunter fired 3 shots at it, but the bullets seemed to bounce right off its chest. Fearing for his life, the hunter grabbed his knife and plunged it into the creature's side. It screamed and ran away. And that's when things got weird. The next morning, the hunter went back to the spot where he had encountered the beast to find its body, but it wasn't there. Instead, he found a set of tracks that led away from the clearing. The tracks looked like those of a biped primate. Then suddenly, right in the middle of the forest, the tracks ended abruptly. There was no sign of the beast anywhere. Number 1. Mysterious autopsy footage. A few years ago, footage of a mysterious autopsy was uploaded to YouTube. It was filmed by someone who claimed to have discovered the body of a Bigfoot in the woods and taken it to a medical examiner to be autopsied. Unfortunately for those who want proof of Bigfoot, the video doesn't show much. The creature's body is covered in a white sheet for most of the video, and what we do see is mostly obscured by darkness. The medical examiner describes the creature as being 7 feet tall, weighing around 400 pounds, with a very hairy torso and a large cranium. Skeptics doubt the authenticity of the video, but what do you think? Could this really be proof of Bigfoot? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. What do you think is the scariest Bigfoot attack of all time? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye.